Nothing ventured, everything gained. A proven formula for success without a VC. I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Dr. Dileep Rao, clinical professor of entrepreneurship at Florida International University and author of Nothing Ventured, Everything Gained. Welcome, Dr. Rao.
Thank you.
Give us a quick summary of your resume.
Well, basically, I spent about 25 years financing businesses and running 5 of them. They were turnarounds, and we funded about 450, ranging from venture capital to loans and leases. And after I retired from there, I started consulting with the US government in low-income areas in the United States and a few outside, like in Haiti. And then I joined academia and started teaching entrepreneurship and venture capital. And that's where I started to learn the other side. I call it the brighter side, to the dark side of venture capital.
Your book, Nothing Ventured, Everything Gained, proposes that by avoiding or delaying VC funding, entrepreneurs can control their companies and retain more of the wealth. So how many entrepreneurs and strategies did you research for this book?
Well, it adds up to about 110. I interviewed about 28 entrepreneurs in the US, $2 billion entrepreneurs outside, one in Ireland, one in Venezuela. And then I analyzed another 83. And so the total comes to about 110. And what I found was surprising to me, that more than 9 out of 10, about 94 out of 100%, did not use venture capital until they took off. And then 20% of them took venture capital after they took off. So those who became billion-dollar entrepreneurs, in essence, did not use venture capital until they took off, and most of them never used it.
When you were a venture capitalist, what skills and attributes did you look for in an entrepreneur?
Well, basically, what we were looking at was something unique in a venture, in a new industry, in an emerging industry. And we funded a few of them, and they turned out to be very, very good. Or sometimes it was a skill in a new trend in an existing industry. And many of them turned out to be successful. The key was, did they add something to the idea and bring it to the level where we could see some potential? And it was very risky and very difficult to fund startups where all the entrepreneur had was an idea, a gleam in their eye, and a business plan. So we wanted some concrete proof that they had potential, and the concrete proof was actual performance.
What did you look for in their product specifically, or their service? What did it need to have or be?
Well, the product needed to fit the unmet need of the customer. And that was a little difficult to explain in general. But we looked at, did this product meet something uniquely in a customer and in the segment of the customer that they wanted to capture? And if they did, we would fund them, regardless of how big they would be. And that was kind of the difference between what we did and what many others did. Many of them would only fund an emerging venture if it would become a billion-dollar company. We would even fund it if it became 10, 20, 30 million. Some of them did become $1 billion, but that was great.
Do you advise any solid entrepreneur to move forward without VC funding, or is there a specific profile of an entrepreneur, business, or product that is really best suited for that kind of adventure?
Well, I call it AHA. And what that means is, if you've come up with a cure for cancer and you have no interest in running the business and have no trouble getting somebody else to run the business, and you either take stock or licensing fees, then you might want to consider handing over the technology to somebody else. All other kinds of entrepreneurs that I found, and these were the 6 out of the 100 that had developed great technologies. And one of them split the gene, one of them came up with the first cardiac pacemaker. So today, in today's day and age, if you can cure cancer, you would belong in that league. As far as the others are concerned, they had to build a venture. They had to come up with the right strategy, and they had to show that there was some proof of potential here. And at that point, if you get to that level, you can get the skills to take it from there and grow. And so the question for you, for every entrepreneur, is do you want to control the venture and the wealth that you create, or just hand it over? If you want to control it, you need to delay or avoid venture capital as long as you can.
What role does time play in building a business without a VC? And how do you convince a lion entrepreneur to be patient?
Well, basically, this is one of the key differences between the entrepreneurs who did not use venture capital and the ones who did. There is very little difference. VCs normally don't fund you for about 3 to 5 years. That's what statistics have found. So you're on your own for the first 3 to 5 years, whether you get angel capital, whether you get your savings, whether you get your friends and relatives, but you're on your own. After you get it, if you want to grow extremely fast, if the industry is taking off and growing extremely fast, you might be forced to get venture capital if your competitors have it. And you can then grow with the industry and grow fast. But if there is no venture capital in the industry, you can grow at what I call the right speed. And this is not too fast, not too slow, which is within your cash flow, and you maximize cash flow. And at the same time, you're staying in the lead in the industry. So you're looking at internal and external.
When startups fail, what are the common weaknesses? What should entrepreneurs be mindful of?
Well, that's a question that many people look at. And at the end of the day, my answer, there are some studies like that the government agencies have done saying 65% of the failures are due to the fault of the entrepreneur. And my reaction is 100% are due to the fault of the entrepreneur, because the entrepreneur should have looked at what could cause it to fail and do better than the competitors. Because if entrepreneur A failed, he or she failed to entrepreneur B, and entrepreneur B was better than them. So all failure at the end of the day goes back to the entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur had to learn some skills that they did not learn, and they just hoped that things would work out. Most of the time, things don't work out.
Many say fail and fail fast and fail often. What would you say about that?
Don't fail. No, the whole fail fast, I would rather phrase it differently. And I would rather phrase it in the sense of test, test, test. When I talk to these entrepreneurs, these successful entrepreneurs, hardly any of them said we failed. What they were always saying was we tested different things. We were looking at what are the factors that influence success. And we didn't know which one would actually help us to succeed, but we would try variations of the theme and see which one worked. And once we found the magic formula, that's when we went in that direction. So it's not a question of try this and fail. You might run out of business, and you might run out of money, and you might run out of time. My whole reaction is plan well so that you can test different options and then go with the option that is likely to succeed. So don't fail.
Got it. Dr. Dileep Rao, he is the clinical professor of entrepreneurship and author of Nothing Ventured, Everything Gained. Thank you so much for taking the time to shed some light on this area. If somebody wants to connect with you, maybe they want to get a copy of your book, how can they do that?
Well, if they want to reach me, they can go to my website, which is my name, dileeprao.com, dileeprao.com. If they want to buy my book, they can go to Amazon, or they can come to my website and buy it. And thank you.
And thank you. And if you guys want to find more of my interviews, you can do that right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or maybe go to my website, tonyahall.net. I've got links to all my social sites. Thanks for watching.